You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello, it's Tuesday the 19th of November 2024. You're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, and it's NaNoWriMo Day 19, not that I've done any writing. And I think I need to address this fact because I'm really struggling with my mental health. I mean, I struggle. People who listen to this regularly know that I'm up and down with it, but the last couple of weeks have just been really quite hard, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. But I've spent most of today feeling really strange and panicky. I went out for break. I felt all right when I got up this morning. It's weird. It goes in waves. So I'll have some days where I'm absolutely fine, and then I'll have days where I feel really strange. And today was a really strange day. So hopefully tomorrow won't be quite so bad. But yeah, so I can't write when I'm like this. So I'm going to take another podcast break because it's just embarrassing coming on here and saying, I've got nothing to say. And although I have got a couple of emergency podcasts in the bank, but I don't think they're going to be enough, to be honest. So after today, I am going to take a few days off. I don't know if it'll just be a few days. I don't know if it'll be a week or two. Sorry. Obviously, I'll come back when I come back. But I just need to. I probably need to go to a doctor and find out what the hell is going on, because I just feel some days I feel perfectly okay, and other days I feel just weird and strange, like I have today. So yeah. Well, that's cheery. So I now need to think of something to say for the remaining 4.5 minutes to get up to its statutory 6 minutes. So what else did I do today? So I went into my favourite bookshop in my hometown because the new Murakami book came out today. The full name of the author is Haruki Murakami. So he's a Japanese author who writes in Japanese, but his books sell very well all around the world, and his are translated into English, usually by the same translator, actually. And there's a guy called Philip Gabriel. And yes, so his new book, which is called The City and Its Uncertain Walls, came out today. Now, apparently, this is based on a short story which he wrote in the 80s, which he's never been, I think it was in a magazine or something, but he's never allowed it to be republished. And it formed the basis of the story that he's published or that's been released today. But what's really interesting is it also formed the basis of a book he wrote a little while back, I think in the 90s, but I can double check, so I've got a copy here, called Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. And apparently the two books do share quite a lot of similarities. So that's going to be interesting. And I initially thought this might be a sequel to Hard-Boiled Wonderland, so I was going to reread it. Hard-Boiled Wonderland was released in 85, and the English translation came out in 91. There you go, I'm just looking at it now. So what I was originally going to do, because I thought Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World was kind of a prequel to The City and Its Uncertain Walls. So my original plan was to read it, and then I discovered it's not that they're related to each other, apart from the fact that they're both sort of inspired by a short story he wrote much earlier on in his career. So I'm not going to read it now. I'm going to read the new book first, The City and Its Uncertain Walls, and then I shall reread Hard-Boiled Wonderland at the end and The End of the World. And it'll be interested to see how many similarities there are, and also, how many more Murakami books are there going to be? Because I think he's 75 this year. This particular book was written mainly in lockdown, so it's possible he's worked on something else since, which may see the light of day eventually. But yeah, he's I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of magical surrealism. You've heard of a genre, you probably haven't heard of a genre actually, called magical realism. Well, I would call his genre magical surrealism because there's weird stuff that just happens and it's not always explained. But they're always very entertaining books with really interesting characters. The most normal book, and I hope I haven't waffled on about this before, apologies if I have. If you want to break into him, his most normal book is one called Norwegian Wood. It's not a happy book, but his most normal book is one called Norwegian Wood, which I actually have read several times. I definitely remember talking about this before. But yes, it's a very good way in. It isn't typical of his stuff because it just has a normal narrative structure and there's none of the surrealist elements to it. But all his books they're just thoroughly engaging and so easy to read. I've just read one called Kafka on the Shore. And he does this weird thing, was he came up with the title and then just writes the book around the title. And there's nothing Kafka-esque, as it were, about it. His main character is called Kafka. And it's just and it kind of leaves home, and there's a guy who can talk to cats. And to describe the plot elements just makes it sound absolutely insane, but they're just so enjoyable to read. So my plan for the next couple of days, I'm going to not force myself and beat myself up about not writing, so I will take a break from this for as long as, as long as I need to. And there's a book I'm reading for my local bookshop's book club, which actually, one of these things, I kind of thought, well, I need to start this. I basically don't like going to bed with between books. So I finished the previous book. I finished reading the one I talked about yesterday, which is the Douglas Adams book, The Salmon of Doubt. And I finished reading that and then thought, well, let's just read the first few pages of the new one. And I can't remember what it's called because it's upstairs in my bedroom, I think. Oh, no, actually, I might have it down here. Hang on. So I might have taken it with me when I went out earlier. Yes, I have. It's called... No, that's next month's book club book. Oh, I can't find it. Waffle. Hang on, let's just see if I very, very quickly can find it. No, anyway, I just thought I'll read the first few pages so I'm not, between books when I go to bed, and ended up really enjoying it and read the first 100 pages or so, and was awake till at least 2 o'clock, and then, of course, couldn't get to sleep and was still awake at 5. So there we go. Anyway, that's me. I will be back. Bear with me. Normal service will eventually be resumed. I do apologise. Take care. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Wright, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.